हेलो एवरीवन। शुरू करते हैं अपना प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस की पूरी सीरीज और क्वेश्चंस करते हैं आज। इसके पहले वाले सेशन में हमने काफ़ी सारे प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस किए थे हिस्ट्री के, और अब उसी सिलसिले को आगे बढ़ाते हुए लेट्स मूव ऑन विथ मोर क्वेश्चंस एंड लेट्स ट्राई टू सॉल्व as many questions as possible, right? So moving on, moving on. Okay, question. So this is where we left last time. Samudragupta's mother belonged to which of the following gun? Samudragupta's mother belonged to which of the following gun? So Samudragupta was the son of Chandragupta the first, and he was the and Chandragupta the first married a Lichavi princess. A Lichavi princess. So Samudragupta's mother is a Lichavi princess. Samudragupta's mother belonged to Lichavi gun. Samudragupta was the son of Chandragupta the first and Kumara Devi. Kumara Devi belonged to the powerful Lichavi clan. The marriage alliance between the Gupta dynasty and the Lichvis was politically very important because it increased the prestige and power of the early Gupta rulers. Because Lichvis had always been important since the ancient time. Even mother of Gautam Buddha was a Lichvi princess. So, because Gupta wanted to set up their empire and they wanted to get recognition from the people, so what they did to garner recognition from the people, they married a Lichvi princess. Samudragupta, who's the greatest Gupta ruler of all time. His mother is a Lichvi princess. Chandragupta the first married a Lichvi princess, and her name is Kumara Devi. So the marriage alliance between the Gupta dynasty and the Lichvis was politically very important because it increased the prestige and the power of the early Gupta rulers. Chandragupta the first even issued coins showing himself along with Kumara Devi, highlighting the significance of this alliance. Chandragupta the first, who's the father of Samudragupta. Lichvis were an ancient republican clan associated with the region of Vaishali in present-day Bihar and were historically influential during the ancient Indian times. Lichvis are associated with Vaishali as well as Vriji. Vaishali and Vriji. The other options are incorrect because Kolia was another ancient clan associated with Buddhist tradition. Sakya was the clan of Gautam Buddha, and Vajji was another larger confederacy of clans that included Lichvi. Vriji included Lichvi. So Vajji was a Mahajanpad, it was not a clan. Who was Samudragupta? Samudragupta was one of the greatest rulers of the ancient India and the most powerful emperor of the Gupta period during the 4th century CE. Because of his extraordinary military achievement, historians often call him the Napoleon of India. So who's considered as the Napoleon of India? It is Samudragupta. He was the son of Chandragupta the first and Kumara Devi. His mother belonged to the powerful Lichvi clan, and his marriage alliance greatly increased the prestige and political power of the Gupta dynasty. Most information about the Samudragupta comes from Allahabad pillar inscription, which was composed by his poet Hari Sen. So most of the information that we get to know about Samudragupta comes from the Allahabad pillar inscription, which was composed by his own poet Hari Sen. The inscription describes him as a powerful conqueror, skilled administrator, scholar, and a patron of culture. The most important event in his life was a massive military conquest campaign across India. He defeated many rulers of the northern India and directly incorporated their territories into the Gupta Empire. He also carried out successful campaign in South India, defeating several southern kings. However, instead of annexing all southern territories, he allowed many defeated rulers to continue governing their kingdom after accepting his supremacy and paying tribute. This policy helped him expand influence without overextending administration. So he also used to allow the rulers who would accept his supremacy to continue ruling in their region if they accepted to pay him tribute. This policy helped him expand influence without overextending administration. His victories established Gupta Empire as a dominant political power in India. Several frontier kingdoms and tribal states also accepted his authority because of his military brilliance and rapid expansion of the empire. Historians compared him with Napoleon. So why do they compare him to Napoleon? Because of his rapid expansion of the empire and also his military brilliance. The fact that he came much earlier than Napoleon, but because when we read history, especially because Indian history was initially discovered by the English people, by the Britishers. So they were familiar with Napoleon, but they were not familiar with Samudragupta. So what they did when they saw, when they read about him, when they found the archaeological evidence of him, when they read the Allahabad pillar inscription and they translated it in their own language, they found a lot of similarities between Samudragupta and Napoleon. Hence, they called him the Napoleon. His victories established Gupta Empire as a dominant political power, powerful, uh, dominant political power in India. Several frontier kingdoms and tribal states also accepted his authority. Because of his military brilliance and rapid expansion of the empire, historians compared him with Napoleon. Samudragupta was not only a conqueror but also a patron of art, literature, and religion. He supported Sanskrit culture and was known for his religious tolerance. He performed the Ashwamedh Yajna. Who performed Ashwamedh Yajna? Samudragupta. Ashwamedh Yajna is performed to show superiority. So what happens in an Ashwamedh Yajna? In an Ashwamedh Yajna, a horse, basically Samudragupta will send a horse in all the neighboring kingdoms. And if any king stops that horse, does not allow that horse to cross his empire, that would mean that that king is challenging Samudragupta. And that would mean that there is going to be a war between Samudragupta and that king. But when Samudragupta sent a horse across all the neighboring empires, what happened? Nobody stopped it, and Samudragupta's superiority was finalized. All the kings realize that he is the superior ruler, and we all come under him. We all accept his suzerainty, which symbolized imperial sovereignty and supreme royal authority. Coins issued during his reign celebrated this sacrifice, and eventually, when the horse will come back to the empire where it started from, eventually, when the horse will come back to Samudragupta, Samudragupta will sacrifice the horse. Samudragupta will kill the horse. So, coins issued during this reign celebrated the sacrifice and military achievement. This is Ashwamedh, and it was performed by Samudragupta of the Gupta dynasty. He's not the only one, by the way, who's doing Ashwamedh Yagya. Many other rulers will also do. It was basically to symbolize authority. He was also interested in music and fine arts. Some of his gold coins show him playing the veena, indicating that he was skilled in music as well. His reign laid foundation for the golden age of the Gupta Empire, which later flourished into the further under the rulers such as Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II is also a very powerful ruler, and he would come after Samudragupta, and he would also show a lot of courage and a lot of bravery, and he will also continue expanding the empire further. But the most powerful ruler of the Gupta Empire, if that is asked, you know it is Samudragupta, the Napoleon of India. Okay, because of his military brilliance and rapid expansion. All right, moving on. In which year did James Mill publish the massive three-volume work A History of British India? Which year did James Mill publish massive three-volume work A History of British India? So that is happening in 1817. 1817. Now we need to understand what is the history of India by James Mill. James Mill published his famous three-volume work, The History of British India, in 1817. The book became highly influential in shaping British views about India, about Indian history, society, religion, and culture during the colonial period. James Mill had never visited India. Remember this. This is very important. That James Mill had actually never visited India. Yet he wrote a detailed account of Indian history based mainly on the colonial sources and European interpretations. In this book, Mill divided Indian history into three parts. Of course, because Britishers are dividing it, so they will make it communal. The Hindu period, the Muslim period, and the British period. This classification later influenced colonial historiography and teaching of Indian history for a long time. So basically what he said, that the ancient period is the Hindu period, the medieval period is the Muslim period, and the modern period is now the British period. So initially India is being ruled by the Hindus, then India is being ruled by the Muslims, now India is being ruled by the Catholics, the Christians. Okay. This was James Mill. Also remember that he never visited India actually. He is never visiting India, but he's writing about India. He's writing three volumes of A history of a British India. Okay. James Mill generally viewed Indian civilization negatively and argued that Indian society was backward and needed British rule and Western education for improvement. His writing strongly influenced British administrators and policies in India during the 19th century. The other options are incorrect because the work was not published in any other year. So the three-volume work called the A History of British India by James Mill is being published in 1870. Remember this, 1870. Moving on. Which of the following revolutionary group's member assassinated Assistant Superintendent of Police John Saunders in 1927? ASP John Saunders. Who assassinated him? So which revolutionary group member assassinated him? So that revolutionary group member is Hindustan Republican Association. And who is a very prominent figure in those group members who assassinated Assistant Superintendent of Police John Saunders? The person who is mainly accused of doing it is Bhagat Singh. Hindustan Republican Association is the right answer. So what happened? Members of Hindustan Republican Association were responsible for the assassination of Assistant Superintendent of Police John Saunders in 1928. The action was carried out as a revenge for the death of Lala Lajpat Rai, who had been seriously injured during a police lathi charge while protesting against the Simon Commission in Lahore. After Lala Lajpat Rai's death, revolutionary leaders such as Bhagat Singh, Shivram Rajguru, and Sukhdev Thapar decided to avenge him by targeting James A. Scott, the police officer believed to be responsible for lathi charge. However, due to mistaken identity, John Saunders was shot dead. The Hindustan Republican Association was a revolutionary organization that believed in armed struggle against the British rule. Later, under the influence of socialist ideas, the organization was reorganized as Hindustan Socialist Republican Association (HSRA). The Saunders assassination became one of the most famous revolutionary actions of the Indian freedom struggle and made Bhagat Singh and his associate widely known across India. So remember, one of the most important event related with Bhagat Singh's life is the assassination of John Saunders. The assassination of John Saunders, who is an ASP in police, in the British police, and he is being assassinated because the Britishers killed Lala Lajpat Rai they seriously injured Lala Lajpat Rai, and then eventually Lala Lajpat Rai succumbed to the injuries. They seriously injured him in a lathi charge when he was protesting against Simon Commission in Lahore. And to avenge his death, three brave young Indians, Bhagat Singh, Shivram Guru, and Sukhdev, who were associated with Hindustan Republican Association, which is an organization that believed in the armed rebellion against the Britishers. They decided to kill James A. Scott, who was a police officer that they believed had ordered the lathi charge against Lala Lajpat Rai. But due to mistaken identity, they actually ended up assassinating John Saunders. Alright, they ended up assassinating him, but they wanted to assassinate him. Okay. So this is Hindustan Republican Association, and also remember that after all this incident and controversy, the name of Hindustan Republican Association is going to be changed and it is going to be called Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, HSRA. Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, HSRA. Okay, next. Who released a special stamp entitled Wheat Revolution in July 1968? Wheat Revolution in July 1968. Now, in 1968, Mahatma Gandhi has already died. Motilal Nehru has obviously already died. Jawaharlal Nehru. The answer has to be between Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Now, you also have to remember that Jawaharlal Nehru only served as the Prime Minister for three terms. So, 15 years he was Prime Minister for. So, he was only Prime Minister till 1962, I think. So, after that, who becomes the Prime Minister? The only option which is left is now Indira Gandhi. And the individual who is going to release a stamp of national level will have to be the Prime Minister. So Indira Gandhi is the right answer. Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi released a special stamp titled Wheat Revolution in July 1968 to celebrate the success of wheat revolution in India. The Green Revolution was a major agricultural transformation and increased the food grain production in India through use of high yielding variety seed H5V seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers, and modern chemical techniques. The movement became especially successful in wheat production, particularly in states such as Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh. Because of this dramatic increase in wheat output, the achievement was popularly referred to as wheat revolution. Because during the Green Revolution, one crop whose production increased many folds is wheat. So that is why Green Revolution is sometimes the first phase of Green Revolution is also referred to as wheat revolution. Is also Green Revolution is also referred to as wheat revolution. The release of the stamp, special stamp, symbolized India's growing agricultural self-sufficiency and reduction of dependence on food imports. During this period, scientists such as M.S. Swaminathan played a major role in advancing the modern agriculture practices in India, while Norman Borlaug contributed internationally through the development of high-yielding variety crops. High-yielding variety crops. So Norman Borlaug will also get Nobel Peace Prize for his contribution and will also be known as the father of green revolution in the world. Father of green revolution in the world. While MS Swaminathan is going to be known as father of green revolution in India. Okay, so due to the contribution of these two individuals, due to the combination, due to the participation of these two individuals, contribution of these two individuals, we will have high yielding variety crops in India, especially high yielding variety seeds of wheat in India, and it will be utilized in a great manner. Indira Gandhi was serving as the Prime Minister of India when she released the special wheat revolution stamp in July 1968. At that time, India was undergoing the Green Revolution, which significantly increased the wheat production through the use of high yielding seeds, irrigation, fertilizers, and modern agricultural methods. So, this is wheat revolution in July 1968 by wheat revolution in July 1968 by uh, Indira Gandhi. The stamp is being released by Indira Gandhi. Next. Who among the following ruled in India between 1266 and 1287? Who among the following ruled in India between 1266 and 1287? Who can be ruling? So Qutbuddin Aibak ruled much earlier. Qutbuddin Aibak came to India with Muhammad Ghori, and Muhammad Ghori came to India in 1192 AD. So Qutbuddin Aibak is ruling right after Muhammad Ghori. So he is ruling much earlier. So he cannot be the answer. Right? And right after Qutbuddin Aibak for 20 years, Iltutmish is ruling. So he also cannot be the answer. Now only two people are left, Ghiyasuddin Balban and Aram Shah. After Iltutmish, for a brief period of time, there will be a power vacuum. Razia Sultan is going to rule, but then there will be a little bit power vacuum also. And after that power vacuum, that power vacuum is going to be filled by a very strong ruler, very strong sultan, and his name is Ghiyasuddin Balban, and that will fall in right in this time, 1266 to 1287. Ghiyasuddin Balban. Answer is Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban was one of the strongest and most important rulers of Delhi Sultanate. He belonged to the slave dynasty, also called as the Mamluk dynasty, and ruled from 1266 to 1287 CE. Before becoming Sultan, Balban was originally a Turkish slave who rose to power because of his intelligence, military skill, and political ability. He later became a member of the powerful group of Turkish nobles known as the Chehelgani or Group of 40, which had great influence over Delhi Sultanate after the death of Iltutmish. So Chehelgani group was a group of nobles, 40 Turkish nobles, which has great influence over the Delhi Sultanate after the death of Iltutmish. Chehelgani was actually started by Iltutmish, but because Iltutmish was powerful, these people, the group of 40 Turkish nobles, they were not able to do anything when Iltutmish was in power. But after Iltutmish, Chehelgani will become uncontrollable and they will have all the power in their hand. They will not even allow the person that was appointed by Iltutmish as his heir to the throne, Razia Sultan. They will not even allow Razia Sultan to become power, even though this was the last wish of Iltutmish. That after him, after his death, Razia Sultan should become the Sultan, but they will not even allow that to happen. She will become the Sultan, but they will create a lot of problems and eventually they will plot her assassination. So, when Balban came to power, the Sultanate, and Balban is also from Chehelgani group. Balban is also a minister in Chehalgani group, but then he will gain their trust and he will come to the power and he will become the king. When Balban came to the power, the Sultanate was facing serious problems such as rebellions by nobles, lawlessness in many regions, weak royal authority, and repeated Mongol invasion from the northwest. Balban believed that only a very strong monarchy could save the Sultanate, so he worked systematically to strengthen the position and dignity of the Sultan. One of the most famous policy was the policy of blood and iron. So who adopted the policy of blood and iron? It is Ghiyasuddin Balban. What does blood and iron mean? That a very strong hold over the empire. No one should be spared. No one's life should be spared who is acting against the peace in the empire. So Ghiyasuddin Balban is going to adopt the policy of blood and iron. Through this policy, Balban used strict punishment and military force to crush rebellions and restore order. He dealt harshly with rebellious nobles, robbers, and local chief, and challenged the authority of the Sultanate. Who challenged the authority of the Sultanate? Areas around Delhi, such as Mewat, had become centers of banditry, and Balban conducted severe military operation to suppress the rebels and make roads safer for trade and communication. So he is doing a lot of great things to bring stability back to the region. Because after Iltutmish, there was a power vacuum, and that power vacuum was utilized by a lot of bad forces. Lot of bad forces, including the thugs, including Mongols, including all sorts of people who were trying to create problem and who were trying to create anarchy so they can make use of anarchy and get some political power in that region or make some money by looting, kidnapping, by massacre, by creating all sorts of trouble. So Balban crushes those individuals by the policy of blood and iron. So this is the blood and iron policy. That if you try to create anarchy in my region, I will completely annihilate you. Balban also destroyed the excessive power of the Turkish nobles, including the members of Chehalgani. Now he is coming from the Chehalgani group and he understands that Chehalgani group has become insanely powerful. So what he will do, he will destroy their excessive power of the Turkish nobles. He will destroy the Turkish nobles. So Chehalgani was Turkish nobles, 40 Turkish nobles. So he will destroy their excessive power. He will let them know that he is the king and they are not. So they should not come in his way. He believed that the nobles should obey the Sultan completely and should not interfere in the royal authority by reducing their power. He strengthened centralized administration and increased the authority of the throne. He introduced the Persian concept of kingship and emphasized that the divine status of Sultan. So he is basically calling for divine kingship. Now he is saying that I have been appointed by God himself. So who are you to stop me? Balban claimed that the Sultan was the representative of God. Very, very important. Representative of God. And should be treated with great respect. To increase his royal prestige, he introduced the strict court ceremonies such as Sijda. What is Sijda? That if you come in the court, you will have to bow down, prostrate before the Sultan. You will have to bow down in front of the Sultan. And then Pabos, kissing Sultan's feet. If you want to address the Sultan, you will have to come and do Pabos. You will have to come and kiss his feet. These practices increase the dignity and majesty of the monarchy. Of course, this will increase dignity and majesty of monarchy. Then there were also a lot of Mongol invasion during the time period of Balban. A lot. The Mongols had already destroyed many powerful kingdoms in Asia and posed a serious danger to India. Now you also have to remember that the greatest ruler of the Mongol army, which is Genghis Khan had recently died. Genghis Khan existed during the time period of Iltutmish. After Iltutmish comes Razia Sultan, and after Razia Sultan comes Balban. And Genghis Khan had established the largest territorial empire in the history of humanity by that time. So even after the death of Genghis Khan, the Mongols were significantly very powerful. So the Mongols had already, and using that power, they had already destroyed a lot of kingdoms in Asia and posed a serious danger to India. Balban strengthened frontier defenses in Punjab and northwestern regions by building forts, appointing experienced commanders and stationing strong armies near borders. His policies successfully protected the Delhi Sultanate from major Mongol conquests during his reign. However, despite his success in strengthening the Sultanate, Balban faced personal tragedies. His most capable son and heir, Muhammad Khan was killed while fighting the Mongols. That deeply affected Balban emotionally, and historians mention that he never fully recovered from that loss. So this question has already been asked in SSC CGL, and this can be asked in future as well, or questions related to this topic can be asked. That who was the most capable son of Balban that Balban wanted to be his successor, and that is Muhammad Khan, or who is the son of Balban that died while fighting the Mongols? That is Muhammad Khan. Muhammad Khan laid down his life for the protection of his empire, or for the protection of his father's empire from the Mongols. So Mongols were very, very problematic for everyone, actually, not just for Indian kings, for everyone. They are picking up fight from everyone, and actually Balban is Balban is fighting them very well. It's not that Balban is not able to fight them. Balban is destroying them. But whenever they will have the power, they will retaliate, they will come back, and they will trouble every single king. Every single king. That was sort of their policy, that they just liked troubling. They were looters. After Genghis Khan, they did not want to establish an empire. They just wanted to loot markets. They just wanted to rob markets, rob the empire, leave, and enjoy for a few months, and then come back again and then do the same. So no responsibility, no administrative capacity, nothing. Just enjoy life in that way, cause chaos, cause anarchy, and create troubles, right? So that was Mongol at that point of time, after Genghis Khan. Of course, during Genghis Khan, they were a proper empire. But after Genghis Khan, they were just broken in many tribes. Okay, moving on. In India, the first census was held in the year 1872. 1872, and it was the outcome of the revolt of 1857, because the Britishers wanted to know who are they ruling. Britishers had no idea that for Hindus cow is considered sacred, and for Muslims pork is haram. So Muslims cannot eat pork. So when Enfield rifle was actually introduced right before 1857, the Hindus and Muslims both revolted, and the Britishers had no idea why are they revolting, because for Britishers beef and pork is nothing. They can eat it, they can use it, but for Hindus and Muslims it's a big thing. So they will do the first census, and this census is non-synchronous census, which means this is not happening all at once. Different time period census is happening at different region. Sometimes it is happening in Bengal, little bit it is happening in Madras, then it is happening in Mumbai, it is happening in Northwest, it is happening in Punjab, as per the convenience, and it will go on for 9 years. 1872. The first census in India was conducted in 1872. British, under the leadership of Lord Mayo. This is again very, very important. Who was the Governor General when first census happened? It is Lord Mayo. This was the first major attempt by the British administration to systematically collect information about the population of India, including details related to religion, caste, occupation, language, and population size. However, the census of 1872 was not conducted simultaneously throughout the country. Different regions carried out process at different times, which is why this is known as non-synchronous census. Non-synchronous census. Moving on. Who among the following defeated Mughal Emperor Humayun at Chausa? Who is defeating Humayun at Chausa? Now, if you look at the whole Mughal history, you will realize that there is a pause, there is a stoppage in the Mughal authority. For approximately 10 years, the Mughals are not ruling over Delhi. Delhi is being ruled by someone else, and that someone else is Sher Shah Suri. And that Sher Shah Suri defeats Humayun for the first time in Battle of Chausa. Battle of Chausa. Who is Sher Shah Suri? So when Mughals came to India, they defeated Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi is Afghan. Now Ibrahim Lodi is defeated and he gets killed. But Ibrahim Lodi had also appointed ministers as his ministers and his officials. All of them were Afghan. So what happened? They traveled all the way from Delhi to Bihar. So all the people who used to work with Ibrahim Lodi, they traveled from Delhi to Bihar. and they found a safe place. And that Bihar acted as their as the place that they will try to regain power. And in Bihar, under Sher Shah Suri, they will reorganize themselves and they will again go on a war with Mughals under Humayun. And they will defeat Humayun, and Humayun will have to exile. Humayun will have to go in and exile. He will return to Kabul, and for 10 years he will live in Kabul. By the time till the time Sher Shah Suri is alive, Humayun will not come back. So, Sher Shah Suri, who was earlier known as Sher Khan, defeated Humayun at the Battle of Chausa in 1539. The battle was fought near Chausa, close to present-day Bihar. At that time, Sher Khan was rapidly emerging as a powerful Afghan leader in the eastern India, while Humayun was struggling to maintain effective control over the Mughal Empire after the death of Babur. After the death of Babur, Humayun was finding it very difficult how to maintain this area, how to maintain such a large empire that Babur had already set up. Now, Babur was very, very experienced in all military conflict and how to lead in military, how to lead military protests, because he had already seen so much in Kabul, and before Kabul he was in Fargana. He had already been attacked so many times, and he had already seen so many losses that he knew how to hold his nerves. But it was very, very hard for Humayun. The Battle of Chausa against Sher Shah Suri was fought in present day Bihar. Again, as I said, the Afghans, they will run all the way to Bihar from Delhi to save themselves, to protect themselves, and under Sher Shah Suri they will reorganize and they will again go on a war with Humayun. At that time, Sher Khan was rapidly emerging as a powerful Afghan leader in the eastern India, while Humayun was struggling to maintain effective control over the Mughal Empire after the death of Babur. Sher Khan used clever military strategy, speed and surprise attack against Humayun's forces. During the battle, the Mongol army was badly defeated. The Humayun narrowly escaped by crossing Ganga River. According to popular accounts, a water carrier helped Humayun escape, saving his life. After this victory, Sher Khan adopted the royal title of Sher Shah and further strengthened his position. He defeated Humayun again in the Battle of Kannauj in 1540. So two times Humayun will be defeated by Sher Shah Suri. First is in Battle of Chausa in 1539, and after 1 year, Humayun will Humayun will bring himself back up. Humayun will again try to gain some strength and go on a war against Sher Shah Suri. And 1540, Battle of Kannauj will happen. And Battle of Kannauj, Humayun will go into exile for several years. Sher Shah Suri later established the Sur Empire. So, who was the winner of Battle of Kannauj? The winner of Battle of Kannauj is obviously Sher Shah Suri. So, after Battle of Kannauj, Sur Empire will begin. Following his decisive victory over the Mughal Emperor Humayun at the Battle of Kannauj in 1540, Sher Shah Suri crowned himself emperor and established the Suri dynasty. Despite ruling only for 5 years, this centralized governance, military prowess, and economic policies profoundly shaped the subcontinent. His his rule was marked by several transformative action and accomplishment. So he is ruling for very less period of time, but he is he is an empire builder. He knows how to build. He knows how to create something which is very, very important in the longer run for the future generation and for the current generation. And we will see that he will do those things in those very few years that he is getting to rule. The first thing, territorial control. After driving Humayun into exile, Sher Shah gained the control of Delhi, Agra, Punjab, Bengal, and Malwa. He went on to bring almost the entirety of the Rajasthan and the frontiers up to Sindh under his domain. Then there is military dominance. He maintained a highly disciplined standing army. He established Dag, branding of horses, and Chehra, descriptive roles of soldiers. Why he used to do that? He had to do, what is Dag, branding of horses? How is he branding horses? Basically, an iron rod, heated iron rod was used to mark something, mark a brand, mark a sort of a you can say, yeah, mark a symbol, a logo on the horse. So that used to act as that, yes, this horse is branded, this horse is of higher quality. Chehra is basically description of the soldier. Now, if a war comes around and the soldier gets scared, and instead of him going in the war, he sends some old person from his family, how will you differentiate? So you will differentiate if you have, at that point of time, of course, there was no photo description of there was no photo available, right? That you can click photo and use photo to match. So they used to write descriptions about that soldier, that his height is so and so, his weight is so and so, his complexion, his hair, all those things, his age, how old can he be, all these things they used to write in Chehra, under the Chehra section, to system to prevent corruption and maintain strict troop readiness. Administrative reform, centralized government. He established a strong, highly centralized administrative system divided into administrative units called Sarkar. So each district under the rule of Sher Shah Suri is known as Sarkar, and Pargana subdivisions. There is local governance. He implemented the principle of local responsibility, making village headmen Muqaddam directly answerable for maintaining law and order or compensating victims for theft within their jurisdiction. Very, very, very important thing done by Sher Shah Suri. So what he did, he appointed Muqaddams. Now, who are Muqaddams? Muqaddams are the village headmen. Earlier also there were village headmen, but those village headmen did not have much responsibility. This time what Sher Shah Suri did, he said, you know, Muqaddam, Mr. Muqaddam, you are the village headman. And if in your village, in your region, I see any particular incident of theft happening, what I will do is, I will make you pay for it. You will have to pay for every single theft that happens. A monarch can do it. A monarch has all the power to do it. Also, Sher Shah Suri would have recognized that a lot of these theft that used to happen, they were actually in the Muqaddam was actually aware about it. The Muqaddam knew who are these people who are doing it. Those individuals, those thieves, those dacoits used to pay a particular sum, particular amount to the Muqaddam, and the Muqaddam used to enjoy. Muqaddam used to not interfere. Muqaddam used to and not even send police officials to control that area. Yeah, why would he even bother? But now he has to bother. Now he has to control law and order. Otherwise, he will be held responsible directly by the king, and the king can do anything. He can make Muqaddam pay, and guess what? He can even order the killing of Muqaddam. He's the king. He's a tough king. So that helped. That helped the Surat dynasty. Then comes the economic and revenue innovations. Standardized currency. He reformed the monetary system by introducing the rupiah, a standardized silver coin, and dam, copper coin. These provided the backbone of the Indian currency system well into the British era. So even to this day, rupiah is the standard name of Indian currency. Rupiah. So that rupiah, which was a standard silver coin at that point of time, was actually started by Balwan. Sorry, it was started by Sher Shah Suri. Introduction of rupiah. It was done by Sher Shah Suri. As I said, his time period was very less. The time period of his rule was very less, but his significance is very large. Land revenue. He created a fair and scientific land revenue system. Land was surveyed, measured, and classified based on its productivity. Based on its productivity. And taxes were generally fixed at 1/3 of the total produce. So these taxes are comparatively less if you compare it to the future kings, right? The future kings will even will start charging even more, especially the Britishers. There will be a lot of times and the Britishers will actually charge 50% of the total produce as agricultural tax. But Sher Shah Suri is not doing it. Sher Shah Suri is only charging 1/3. Infrastructure and communication. He constructed and restored numerous roads, most notably the Sadak-e-Azam, which stretched from Sonargaon in Bengal to Peshawar in the northwest. So Sadak-e-Azam is being constructed by Sher Shah Suri, and this particular road, which is called as Sadak-e-Azam, which stresses from Sonargaon in Bengal to Peshawar in northwest, Peshawar in now Pakistan, was actually the first ever grand truck road, GT road which was made for large vehicle. And see the length of it, the stretch of it. He's making it from Sonargaon in Bengal all the way to Peshawar, right? So he understands that how important it is for for the empire to have really good connections, really good commute facilities, and he's providing that to his kings, to his traders. Trade and rest. Along these roads, he built 1700 sarais, rest houses, that served as a resting place for the traders, for the travelers, post stations, and center of trade. Legal and judicial system. Equal justice. Sher Shah Suri was known for his strict and impartial justice system. High-ranking nobles, local officials, and commoners were subject to the same laws, significantly reducing corruption and crime. This is also being done by Sher Shah Suri. Like he is implementing a strict and impartial justice system. A strict and impartial justice system. Okay, moving on. Fuhar and Kaveri Patnam was the port of which of the following dynasties? Fuhar and Kaveri Patnam. So Fuhar and Kaveri Patnam are the ports of the dynasty of Chola. Fuhar, also known as Kaveri Patnam, are the famous port cities of Chola dynasty. Fuhar was one of the most important trading ports of the ancient South India and played a major role in the maritime trade during the Sangam Age. Located near the mouth of Kaveri River on the eastern coast of India, the city became an important center for trade, commerce, shopping, and cultural exchange. The Chola used Fuhar for extensive overseas trade and regions such as Rome, Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka, and China. Okay, so we'll take a little bit of rest and then I'll get to you in the next lecture. Okay, so watch the next lecture for complete, comprehensive, detailed explanation of all these questions and their answers as well as their options. What's the next one?